There's no magic rabbit that we're pulling out of a hat here.
Our teachers don't feel valued.
We're taking $11 billion out of school districts.
But because we're education, we are held to a different standard.
Budget breakdown, money meltdown from public education to health and human services. Advocates from every corner of Texas are making their case when it comes to budget cuts. Emotions and finances bleed together as lawmakers map out a way to balance the books. And with only 13 weeks left in the session, they're running out of time.
From KXAN Austin News, this is Session 11, live interactive breakdowns, insights, interviews, and our weekly roundtable discussion. You're watching Session 11 on KXAN Austin News.
Good morning, I'm Robert Hadlock. Thanks for joining us here on Session 11. This morning, we're breaking down the big budget crunch at the state capitol. Our On Politics panel spans the political spectrum, offering up surprising spending solutions and ideas to prevent future problems. The nearly $10 billion proposed cuts to public education is rising to the top of the agenda this session. This morning, our political reporter Josh Hinkle goes head-to-head with Congressman Lloyd Doggett on what's holding up $830 million in federal money from reaching our schools here in Texas when Texas needs it the most. Josh?
Robert, the Texas Education Agency says it's enough to save 13,000 teaching jobs now on the chopping block, but that federal funding is tied up in a feud between Congressman Doggett and Governor Rick Perry. Each man says he's doing the right thing for the state. Still, that crucial money hasn't made it here yet.
This is the 3-page application that if Governor Perry will just affix his signature to it, our Texas schools will get $830 million. Here in the Austin area, that means almost $19 million, which would play a big role in helping us to avoid closing schools, laying off so many public school personnel. The only purpose of the amendment that I and 11 other members offered last summer that is now federal law is to ensure that if we vote for federal aid for schools in Washington, it actually reaches those schools here in Texas. And it's really unfortunate that Governor Perry has not signed this application and gotten the money here already. But there's still time through the end of this fiscal year in September for him to sign up and get our schools the money that they desperately need.
You know, some people say this is just political bickering between you and the governor.
Well, I think that's probably because the governor has chosen to attack me even in his State of the State address and to ignore the fact that there were 12 people behind this amendment, not just one. And not to pick on the governor, but to say, you know, if Texas took $3.25 billion, as it did, of Federal Economic Recovery Act money, while complaining all the time that there was too much spending in Washington, it took all of that money, and instead of adding it to our schools as we voted to do, they simply dumped it into this black hole called the state budget deficit with the rainy day fund that they now won't use. So having had that experience, we said, you know, why send any federal aid to education to Texas if it doesn't aid our schools? And that's what this amendment is all about. It's not about my political future or the governor's. It's about the future of tens of thousands of Texas school children who are in jeopardy with the cutbacks being made on education in our state.
When you're talking about the future, the governor has seemed very firm in his rationale that he can't bind future budgets.
Well, the governor has, number one, his staff has told the Department of Education of Washington that they eventually plan to file a proper application. We're not asking him in signing this document really to do significantly different than he did when he applied for economic recovery funds in the first place. The legislature is in session now. There's no reason he can't consult. It would appear that perhaps at least the Senate appropriations bill is in compliance with this amendment. It seems to be more a matter of political grandstanding and of perhaps the desire, as we fear, to take this education money and use it to fill a mismanaged budget gap. I am convinced that unless we're able to uphold this amendment, that our schools will never see a dollar of it. And we'll see the pressure continue to close schools here in Austin, which is wrong, and to lay off teachers. It's almost as if we're in a fantasy land at a time when we are competing with China, with Germany, when we need an educated workforce with expanded skills. The notion that we're talking about eliminating support for advanced placement courses, that we have to rely on 10-year-old science textbooks, that we must lay off people for early childhood learning opportunities? How will we be competitive if we make those kind of drastic cuts in education in this state? Our amendment doesn't solve all that problem, but it at least says a few more federal dollars will flow to schools to help them deal with the budget crisis they didn't create, but Governor Perry and state leadership created with these cutbacks.
Members of the Republican delegation rolled back your amendment over last weekend, but you have said that it's meaningless. Why?
Well, they attempted to roll it back. They've been talking ever since they voted against the proposal in the first place. Understand that if Republicans had ruled on this matter in Washington, there wouldn't be a dollar flowing to Texas or any place else. But since the dollars are flowing to 48 other states, only Texas and one other has not gotten their money, they're saying free Governor Perry, no accountability for Governor Perry, and they've offered a repeal amendment. Last weekend, in the middle of the night, they chose not to advance the repeal amendment. It was never offered. They proposed what's called a limitation amendment to limit the monies in the bill we have up today to enforce federal law saying, Governor Perry, this money must be spent on Texas schools. Unfortunately for them, there's no money to limit in this bill. So they have not offered repeal. They have not repealed the bill. They've added some language that may just confuse a judge and perhaps jeopardize these monies should the Senate approve it. I hope the Senate will not approve it, because it really is just sign the 3 pages, Governor, and Austin schools and schools all over the state will get some relief that the state of Texas is not otherwise planning to provide them.
New census numbers for Texas just came out, and there are a lot of people saying, because we have such a huge Republican majority here in the state, at the state capitol right now, that you might be in danger of being drawn out of your district.
Well, there's no doubt, you know, I've been drawn every which way in the past. There's no doubt that Republicans would like to snuff out any voice of dissent from their prevailing view. We already have ample Tea Party representation in the Travis County area. I represent all or parts of 3 of the fastest growing counties in this state. We have over 1 million people within Travis County. It would be very easy to do right by the people of our area if this legislature wants to do so. I hope they will do so, but I'll stand ready for whatever comes and to protect legal rights in the courts and then to run in the district that represents as much of my community as possible.
I also spoke to the congressman about the state Senate's resolution calling on Congress to balance the federal budget. This is yet another push by the governor. Check out that extended interview at KXAN.com. And while you're there, click on the On Politics tab at the top. You'll go straight to our special political site where you can find our latest coverage, previously broadcast Session 11 programs, and blogs. And plus, click at the blue bar at the top to chat with us. We're talking budget all morning throughout the program, and our On Politics panel will field your questions coming up in just a bit. Robert?
Josh, thanks very much. Well, continuing our coverage of this education crisis, we asked Governor Rick Perry's office what they think about our conversation with the congressman. A spokesperson says the governor hopes to have the dispute resolved by September when the federal fiscal year rolls over, so the funds aren't lost altogether. The governor's office also says if and when Texas does get the money, it absolutely will not pay for anything but education.
What we're focused on is getting those dollars into Texas schools exactly where they belong, exactly where they've gone to other states for that same purpose. So this is no different. The only difference is Texas is facing a roadblock that other states haven't had to.
The general attitude of the public is it's about providing educational services, not necessarily jobs.
The Texas Education Agency Commissioner says using that federal money to save about 13,000 teaching jobs would no doubt brighten the educational forecast Texas faces. He testified before the House Appropriations Subcommittee on Education, speaking briefly about this week's cuts with his own agency to save money. The subcommittee's chair says the TEA would not escape the cuts to all state agencies and might have to eliminate as many as 300 positions before it's all over.
If we don't have the grant programs anymore, it's sort of unclear why we need the people to, and this is not a knock on anybody at TEA.
Unfortunately, if people are in a position that they're not providing core services to schools and school districts, then we're downsizing and eliminating those positions. This is step 1. Step 2 will happen over the summer, and we'll have to look at the end of session and see what our budget contains to see how many staff and what mission the legislature wants the agency to accomplish.
We want to know what you think about this budget crunch for Texas schools. Our On Politics poll asking today, without a state budget set, are school districts moving too quickly with teacher cuts? You can log on to KXAN.com and cast your ballot. Stay with us here on Session 11.